What is up, guys? It is the OTO podcast. We are back with episode 20. I'm with my co-host, Bannon Crowley. He can introduce himself now.
What's up, guys?
Excited
Glad to
as
be back.
let's
I'm
go.
very excited to
You,
be back.
he's very excited, as you can tell. Obviously, we just had another pay-per-view in the Paramount era, UFC 326. We saw the most legit belt in the game, the BMF belt, go to Charles do Bronx Oliveira. He dominated Max Holloway through 5 rounds. Banning, did you expect that result? And give me some thoughts on what that means for the hierarchy of the BMF lineage.
Yeah, so I would say overall, I didn't have too many high expectations for this numbered card. Um, but I think, overall pretty solid. But the main event, uh, I don't know. Going into it, with the title on the line, like you said, probably the most coveted belt in all of UFC history. And I really didn't expect Charles to go out there and just frame mog him for 95% of the time, but he did. And there's a lot of questions now on what to do now. Um, I mean, he dominated him, won every single round, 20 minutes of control time, the second most ever. Behind a redacted fight from last summer. And Charles just absolutely dominated Max here. Not really much to say about the fight. Very surprising though. 137 total strikes from Charles, 92 from Max, which very close in the striking department, but 21 minutes of control time doesn't really matter overall. But either way, I mean, I think what's next for both of these guys, I think it's interesting. Should we retire the BMF belt? Is Max not good enough to be at 155? I think there's definitely a lot of questions here. And what's next for Charles? Maybe being someone that's a little notorious.
I can't think of anyone that falls under that description besides Michael Chandler again, the
Okay.
notorious Michael Chandler.
Yep.
But yeah, I agree with just about everything you said. I was very wrong about that fight. I came into it expecting Charles to continue in his ways, and I thought this was the end of a I'm not going to call it a title contending Charles because I refuse to call the BMF belt a legit title, but the end of a peak of Charles Oliveira. And he's a guy that has a ton of fans for good reason and built up a ton of goodwill with the fans. But when you look at his recent fights where he kind of wins one, loses one, win one, loses one, and then his last three wins are Darius, Chandler, and Gamrot. I was kind of thinking that this would be the nail in the coffin for Bronx's career, but I think he realized after that Ilya KO that he was fighting incredibly stupid, and that was not his fight style. And Charles was putting up a high guard, walking forward. I mean, he's giving guys like Michael Chandler like massive chances to beat him, and he is a much better fighter than that. And a lot of people are saying it's boring, like similar to a certain redacted fight you brought up. But Charles Oliveira, if he wants to continue his career at a high level, which he is a very, very high level grappler, he should continue being boring. Continue with this because he made Max look silly. And Max is a guy that makes a lot of people look silly, and he does not often look silly. So I was very impressed with Charles, and I, I'm I'm happy that he's kind of changing styles back to the way he should be.
Yeah. I think one thing now for Max, I don't know, is staying at lightweight. He's not as good as any of these guys in the top four, right? Charles just beat him. He's not going to beat Armin. I don't know, like him against Gaethje, obviously very different story since he knocked out Gaethje. But like I don't see, I don't know, maybe if Ilya, well, okay, not if Ilya beats Gaethje, but once Ilya beats Gaethje, do we see a Gaethje Max rematch? And like, what else is left for Max Holloway really at this point? Because he's not going to be contending for a title, in my opinion. And I don't know, like, do you just go back down to 145? But you really can't because you can't fight Volk for the belt. So maybe just some fun fights for the rest of his career. Um, like he would definitely benefit fighting a guy like Dan Hooker who can't grapple, notorious for not being able to grapple. And overall, I don't know. I think Max, he's not done obviously because I think he beats like most of the guys towards the bottom of this division. The top just gets a little interesting, but maybe a Gaethje rematch after he loses to Ilya. But on the opposite end, what's next for Charles Oliveira? I think it's time to get rid of the BMF belt. I don't think anyone cares anymore. And I don't know. After that performance, it wasn't a if there was no title on the line, this was just a regular performance, people wouldn't care. I don't know why people decided to care about the BMF belt this time. But I don't know if that's enough to win the belt. So I don't know. I think you just got to hang it up at this point. No one really cares. And maybe Charles versus McGregor at 170. That would definitely be an interesting fight. But if not, um, I don't know what's next for Charles. Maybe he fights Armin again while Armin waits for the winner of Ilya versus Gaethje. Um, who knows, really? One thing I will point out, though, I'll propose if Ilya does move up and tries to fight Islam at the end of the year, I don't think we're far away from seeing Charles versus Armin for the vacant belt.
Yeah, I completely agree. One of the first names I think of with Charles and future opponents is Armin every single time. We brought up before how Armin is kind of at a point where he's fighting RAF fights and he has nobody to fight, and he's still pretty far removed from that belt, even though he's most likely the best contender in the division and probably the best fighter in the UFC that doesn't have a belt right now. But Armin has been trying to make a name for himself. And that Charles fight at 300 was so close. It was an incredible fight. And if Charles is going to do the style that he's been working with his last two fights, I would love to see Armin versus Charles. I would probably say Armin would win again if I'm being honest, but I think it would be an incredibly close fight. And it would be a great fight to cement Armin as the number one contender or even show that Charles is not done yet. But when you look at Max Holloway, I don't think there's any chance in the world he's going to cut down to 145 ever again. He struggled with that when he was much younger in his 20s, but Max is only 34. As the fight game goes, that's really not that old, but he's been in the UFC for 14 years. He's been hit in the head more times than probably any person alive on the planet. He might have landed more than he's gotten hit, but he has still taken so many hits to the head. I think Max is closer to retirement than people probably think, but he's kind of that fighting Hawaiian type style that I don't think he's gonna go down easy. Like I think he's gonna fight until he can't anymore. But that being said, we might be. I really don't know. I almost like when you brought up McGregor, like that could be a crazy little rematch, but I couldn't see Max going down to 145 at all. But when you look at 155, like I really don't know what you do with Max. It could be a Dan Hooker type guy, but if Max is he coming off this loss, fighting Dan Hooker, like does that do anything for Max? I'm not really sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe we could get like out. I mean, BSD would be a pretty good fight, but there might be someone else that we could put out there. Team
Oh,
OTO.
yeah. Your name's cropping. Oh, that would be Patty the Batty. I also have that right up
Hey,
here.
wouldn't be a bad shout, boys. Would not be a bad shout. But moving on from that, we had a co-main event on this card. We had two people fighting in the co-main event who, by the end of the fight, didn't really look like they wanted to fight each other anymore. Not because they were scared, but they were just both very gassed out. Um, Kyle Braulio defeated RDR in what was pretty good and entertaining to start off, but by the third round, like I said, both of these guys just looked completely gassed, which is very surprising from a guy like Kai who fought 5 round fights before. Like this is a guy who before this, it's not like he hasn't been used to 5 round fights. He fought 2 5 round main events before this, as well against Cannonier and against Nasruddin Imavov. So it's not like he's not used to training for 5 rounds. And he went to decision in both of those. So he's gone 5 rounds. So it was very, very interesting. Maybe that layoff is part of the reason why, he hasn't fought since September of last year, which I guess in UFC terms now isn't that long, but it feels like a pretty long that's trying to move up the ranks. But he did win, so still definitely have to give him credit there. And RDR officially said that he's moving up to light heavyweight, which is definitely a decision to make. Not really sure how well he's going to perform up there, especially with the light heavyweight division having some really good guys at the top. But with Pereira leaving, um, not a bad shout, I guess. But either way, Kyle moves into the top five, and could easily move up into a contender fight soon. I would say his next fight should definitely be a number one contender fight, in my opinion, depending on who he fights.
Yeah, I mean, that was as sloppy as fights can go. I was not impressed in the slightest, to be honest, by either man. RDR is a guy that I loved going to the UFC. He had some good fights over Bo Nickel and then possibly AI fight over Kevin Holland. But RDR, please make me your new manager. Fire who you have now. You are moving up to the heavyweight division. You will frame mug every single heavyweight. I do not see the point in RDR going back to light heavyweight. This man is the former double champ at heavyweight and light heavyweight when he was in one. You're moving up to heavyweight and you are submitting a ranked Tai Tuivasa as your first fight. And then who knows, you could get a title shot right after that. But we've talked about it all the time. If you're a light heavyweight, you Vitor Petrino style, you move up to heavyweight, you fight a fat loser, and then you instantly join the rankings. I don't know why they don't do it more often. It's an infinite money glitch. And RDR is 6'4". Like, he's got to eat a little bit of food, and that's a heavyweight right there. He looked very good with his weight cut, but I don't know from the Brendan Allen fight if that was overtraining, a blood thing he was saying, or if that was related to a weight cut. But if you're gonna look gassed and tired and sloppy at 185, you're probably gonna look the same against pretty good athletes in light heavyweight. So I just I really like RDR, but the way he fights is just so it's just inefficient. And when you fight guys like, I don't think Baralho even cared about RDR. He's like, oh, I'm just gonna jab him up. I'm gonna get an easy co-main win. Like, I would have rather seen the Moicano Ortega fight against Ortega in a wheelchair as the co-main. It would have been a better fight than that. But I'm putting more blame on that on RDR than on Baralho. I just think he wanted to get in there, get the win, and get out, and end that little losing fight he lost last time around. So. Either way, not impressed by that Komen, not impressed in the slightest by RDR, but heavyweight division is calling for you, brother.
Yeah, I'm not really impressed too much with this division overall. I mean, Kamzat has taken this division and just held it over. I don't know. I felt weird saying a different word there by holding. He's holding out the division. We'll say that. But I don't know. I mean, before DDP fought Sean Strickland twice, yes, but he still fought. Like DDP was defending the belt when he was the champion. He fought Strickland twice. He fought Izzy. Like he was going out there, he was defending the belt, and now we have to like maybe get one Kamzat fight a year at this rate. So I don't know. Not very exciting from this division, which was a
Well,
premier
can I say
division.
one thing?
Yeah.
With we're gonna talk about a White House event later, but it's got to be confirmed that Kamaev is vacating, right? At 185
Why would that be?
because of a certain Pereira gone heavyweight fight.
Yeah, but then he wouldn't be fighting for the belt though, because Yuri and Olberg.
Oh, I forgot 327. But is
Yeah.
Kamaev going to fight anyone, or is he just gonna sit it
That's a good question. I don't know I don't think anyone knows the answers to that.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, I mean, Kyle wants to fight DDP. I think that's a fantastic fight. I would like to see that. Sean Strickland defeated, I know your boy Fluffy Hernandez. A lot of people had a lot of stock in Fluffy Hernandez. Somehow Sean Strickland, I don't know, man. I don't know how to predict anything Sean Strickland does anymore. He has pillow hands. Though when he fought Paulo Costa 2 years ago and beat him by split decision, which Costa won on one of the judges' cards too. I don't know. Like for him to come out and knock out Fluffy 2 weeks ago is crazy. I think that honestly sent this division backwards even more because now he might be getting a title fight against Kamzat, which is just going to be terrible because Kamzat's going to beat him in like one round and then not fight for another year. So I don't know. The middleweight division, not very exciting, but one person that could save us. Body Bags Joe Pfeiffer. If he goes out and beats Izzy, becomes a number 4 ranked middleweight, we will have a contender. And Mr. America will take the belt. He will go in, he will beat Izzy, and then he will go in on short notice because someone's going to pull out of the UFC White House card. Dana's going to call up, hey, Mr. America, we need you to come take the belt from the Russian. And then he's going to knock out Kamzat in one round.
Wow, chills. Absolute chills there. Um, I mean, we'll see. We'll talk about the fight nights later, but there's a lot of stuff coming up. But Sean Strickland, I think he only tries against people he truly hates, and maybe I'm not going to get political here, but something with Fluffy could have triggered him in the octagon, possibly. Something that maybe against Adesanya also triggered Strickland. But speaking of which, Chiwiwis gets another UFC win over Rob Font. And Meet Me is, I feel like people kind of forget about him for like a long time, and then he comes out and he takes over and everyone loves him, and then he disappears again. But I hated trying to predict how that fight would go. Rob Font is like pretty boring, not very good in the twilight of his career, and I am just not a Rosas guy, I'll be honest. But either way, impressive performance. Anything that surprised you?
Nothing that really surprised me, but there's nowhere to run now. 13th ranked. He's still 21 years old. I say just let him fight Peter right now and just see if he can win the belt at the youngest fighter ever. Um, yeah, well, probably not though. But realistically, there's a few different names that I want to throw out because 11, 12, and 13 in this bantamweight division right now are just like dogs across the board. All great prospects with Vinicius, Peyton Talbot, and Raul Rosas. I think the UFC really wants to push these guys and get guys like, Zahabi, Figueiredo out of the way, kind of the older guys. But there's some really good talent in this division right now. I don't know if he's top tier talent right now. Like you said, he had that loss, but then bounced back. Very similar to Peyton Talbot. Like they're on pretty similar trajectories right now. I think they would wait to do that matchup. I don't think that makes sense now because you don't want to have those guys fight each other. But Raul likes to take it to the ground. I would say a Figueiredo fight could be pretty interesting in my opinion. Really test that ground game for him. And Figgy only having a few fights left, I would say not a bad idea.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely kind of a crazy thought a year ago, like saying Meat Meat would be fighting Figgy, but Figgy's been declining fast and Rosas is on the up and up. I love what you said. There's nowhere to run. He's ranked now. You can't really just kind of pick against random guys. I
Mm.
This is not Bantamweight is elite at the top still. Like Piotr Jan is one of the best fighters in the world right now, but the bottom half is there is gap. Like Figgy has looked very bad recently. Chito Vera looked pathetically bad in his last like 3 or 4 fights. But I don't see why you don't do Peyton Talbot versus Rosas now. Because they're both kind of more wrestling, grappling based guys. One of them, it's not going to be a brutal knockout. I don't believe in the fight, but however way the fight goes, in 10 years, you have a Charles Mack situation. Maybe you run that back for the BMF belt, Raul Rosas. But I think that would be, I mean, you're telling me casual fans, you're telling me on TikTok that's not getting like a million views of a Rosas versus Talbot edit, some Frank Ocean Roadrunner type Looney Tune edit. Rosas is I think he's there to stay in the rankings, but I don't know who he actually fights. Like, I think Figgy, maybe, and Cheeto are like the only guys that are not gonna. like I'm kind of shocked he's in the rankings now. I'll just say that. But Rob Font was the name to pick for him to join the rankings, and I think the route for Rosas, if we're being honest, he said it himself, and I don't hate it. Just take your time. He's been he was active like when he first kind of broke out, but he's been kind of slowing down in his pure activity. And if I'm Rosas, I'm taking my time because if you rush into a fight and he's begging for a fight and Oliveira colds him in one round, you might get removed from the rankings even. So you don't know how that goes, but I mean Rosas is a good wrestler, good striker. I'm not sure where you go from there.
Yeah. I don't know. I think, like I said before, I think Figgy would be a good fight to kind of test him a little bit. Maybe if he doesn't want to move all the way up. Like I said, I think Talbot, I think you kind of hold out for that. That's like a top five matchup, hypothetically, if both guys can get there. But maybe if you want to give him someone a little bit easier to test on the feet, maybe a guy like Cheeto, or David Martinez. Because I also don't think you can give Rosas Mario Bautista because as much as I may not be a massive fan of Bautista, like he's very good. And
Mhm.
he's proven that right now. And he, despite being ranked eighth right now, is in that conversation as one of the contenders in this division. Moving back, though, to the middleweight division, which we were just talking about not being that great, RoboCop has been fantastic. Gregory Rodriguez, if you guys don't know the nickname, if you guys don't have that ball knowledge on that, is 5-1 in his last six. His only loss, he got knocked out by Jared the Killer Gorilla Cannonier. But hey, I mean, he's continuing to move up. Cannonier's at 10 right now. Could have a rematch there. I do think he deserves to fight up again. It will be interesting. Uh, Robert Whitaker hasn't been taken out of the rankings. I'm pretty sure he's also moving up, unless I'm wrong. Isn't I believe he's moving up as well to light heavyweight. So if you get rid of DeRitter and Whitaker at 8 and 9, RoboCop's at 10. So and Cannonier would be at 8 hypothetically. So I think that would be fun. I think maybe even him versus Fluffy. Either way, it could be a bounce back for Fluffy, or RoboCop could get another win to continue his streak, and I think that would be great on the feet to see. So I think I just convinced myself I would probably make that the next fight, especially since Fluffy's higher ranked. He just lost a few weeks ago. Gregory just won. So I think if you're going to make the fight, make it, and it will be a top 10 ranked fight by the time it would happen. So.
Yeah, and one thing of note is you brought up the Cannonier loss, and he also had the loss too, getting flatline KO'd by Bruno Ferreira, the guy that he just flatline KO'd. Both first round knockouts either way. So he could be on a vengeance tour. Maybe you give him Cannonier, get that loss back. But Rodriguez has a ton of power. I'm just I'm hesitant. The Ferreira KO and the Cannonier KO were tough, but then the Hermanson ones on his side and obviously the Ferreira one this time around were just very powerful. RoboCop, I've seen videos of him like sparring. He spars super hard. He tries to hurt people, and it echoes in the actual fights as well. So he's a very tough fighter. And when you do look at it, I know Delize's booked, so Fluffy might be that next name to take on for RoboCop, but. I think someone like Fluffy, one of those power punchers at the top, I think it's a level above, to be honest. If he fought any of those guys, like Barajo or Imavov eventually, obviously not next, like I think he really has to work on his defense because he's such a killer be killed type of guy, and sometimes he's been getting killed. But that applies to the Hulk as well, another niche nickname if you haven't heard that one before. But Hulk is the exact same way. There's a reason these guys have both knocked each other out in the first round. Uh, it's a bit weird tactically. Like you think you wouldn't want to like risk that, but hey, you got to get your paycheck somehow. You got to move up the rankings. Ferreira came off a very boring fight against Vittori, where Vittori, I mean, that man is like the chin. His chin is the only reason he is in the UFC, and he proved it in that fight. But I mean, just as a reminder, like Vittori has won one of his last six fights. Like that's not really saying much for Ferreira. So. I'm kind of like he's a ranked guy as well. I think you give him an unranked. I'm kind of surprised he's not dropped, to be honest. But you find another middleweight. Maybe if Izzy loses again, you give him Izzy as another feeder for Ferreira. But yeah, I'm not sure what to do for Ferreira. I think he has to fight an unranked guy to prove he's actually good. But that's another night or another fight. It was a great knockout by Rodriguez, but to be honest, not impressed in the slightest because two guys swinging with their arms down, one of you will get hit, and it's happened either way.
Yeah, and one thing to note, only 3 seconds between both of those knockouts. One, both being in the first round, one at 147 this past weekend, and one at 143 in their first fight. So, pretty much the same exact fight from both guys when they fought. But I don't think RoboCop, like you kind of alluded to, is an elite level prospect, but he's definitely still one of the more fun guys in this division overall. So, going through our performance bonuses of the night that we will give out, shock of the night. We both have
Oh,
the same.
did we? Are we? I mean, a little bit of racial hatred, or should we? I did want to talk about him a little bit, but
Oh, yeah, no, I
yes,
completely skipped over that one. Yeah,
a little
no,
bit.
that was a good catch. Drew Dober did defeat Michael Johnson. I guess that got wiped from my memory
I was
here.
about to say
But
that.
yeah, no, Drew Dober went out there. I mean, you already said the line, so I'll let you take this one away. But a fantastic knockout from Drew Dober.
I mean, someone's got to stop this man. He has a problem. It's a problem, but if we're looking at matchmaking wise for Drew Dober. Think it's got to be Jalen Turner for one reason or another. Someone's got to stop this man. It's honestly becoming a problem. But Drew Dober, the Giga Chad, is obviously he has good power. He's been KO'd a few times. For me at least, it was an easy pick because Michael Johnson is not that guy. And
Oh,
obviously he won. He's on a three-fight win streak, and people were kind of like, "Oh, Michael Johnson's back," but the real answer is Daniel Zahuber sucks. That's what this fight led to in my eyes. Drew Dober got the win, but Daniel Zahuber sucks. He's supposed to be a good prospect, and he's getting pieced up by Michael Johnson. So, I really don't think you might have been right to skip this fight. I don't think there's much to say. Johnson's really old. He's washed, unfortunately. He's kind of in Bobby King Green territory. Um,
hey,
the end of his career.
Bobby King Green is not washed though, confirmed.
As you would say, King Green, but I call him Bobby Green myself. But
That's why you put
he,
so much money on him, right?
I did it. I do like, but all right, I admit it. I love King Green. Maybe he gets vengeance against Drew Dober, but the King Green career revival arc is back. Give him the BMF belt versus Charles. He deserves it. But yeah, that was I really think that's all we have to say about that. Maybe you were right to skip it.
Hey, I thought you were gonna say that you knew Drew Dober was gonna win for a different reason. But hey, who knows? He's gone through Terrence McKinney, King Green, Michael Johnson. I don't know, man. He also did beat Fluffy Hernandez, by the way. People forget about that.
Is that a true fact? I is
No,
that
that's not true.
oh okay.
Just
Okay.
Alexander Hernandez. Just
Oh,
making
okay.
sure you guys at home
Similar.
are just making sure you guys at home are paying attention. But yeah, no. So we can move on to the performance bonuses here. Shock of the night. This is someone that had a great performance, overperformed. It may be a little boring, but I went with Charles Oliveira, the new BMF champion. And yeah, I was very surprised by this performance overall, as we could see here from the shock of the night. But he just completely dominated this fight. And I mean, the amount of times that DC said that it was in really tight, or Joe Rogan said that he's out, which not to their credit, but to Max Holloway's credit, there were some positions that I did not think he was going to get out of, and he did. So him surviving that full 25 minutes, with a grown man just straddling him the whole time on the ground, pretty impressive. But shout out to Charles as he continues his career here in what could have been, I mean, I said before, maybe would have been a retirement fight if he lost.
Yeah, I had to pick Charles as well. I tried to think of someone else, and I honestly think it had to be Charles. There wasn't much to pick from, but I completely agree. Where if Charles lost that fight, who knows where he's at in his career? If he gets KO'd by Max Holloway in one round after Ilya does the same to him, who knows what happens? But Charles was very impressive, and I do agree with what you said. Max Holloway. He looked okay in terms of defense, but obviously got dominated through 5 rounds. But I think it's more of a factor that Charles looked very, very good, and other guys probably would not have survived as long as Max did in that fight going all the way. But Charles is I mean, he had a fantastic performance. I feel like you had to pick him. But another guy that I feel like I had to pick, the flop of the night, RDR. I mean, I love how awkward he is. I love how goofy his striking is, but when he's not on, he is just not on. He just absolutely sucked. There was nothing redeeming about his performance, so he did so bad he quite literally moved up to another division.
Yeah, and I had a guy that I don't even watching this fight was absolutely terrible. Um, Zhang Lao, Long John, Jiao Long. I don't know, man. Like being taking 2 points away from him. I don't even know if Cody Garbrandt actually won a round, if we're being honest. But w- I don't know. That was just probably one of the worst things I've ever seen. And like Cody did not deserve to win that fight. He did win somehow, but Mr. Long, I know people get removed from the UFC all the time. I'm surprised I didn't just cut him that night after what that performance was, because by that third round, when he got the 2 points taken away, he deserved it because he was just like that's all he was doing. That his move was just like the low blow every single time. So. And one interesting loophole that I did hear out of this was that I guess if a fighter does throw up during the fight, due to a legal strike, the fight ends. But since it was an illegal strike, then the fight didn't end. But if it was a legal strike and he did throw up, then it would have been a knockout win for Long. But since it was an illegal shot, it kept going. So interesting thing to look for in the
Someone should
future.
remember that if they need it tactically. Maybe, hey, DDP, you're having some trouble against Kamaev. We'll see. Maybe pull trig in the octagon. Could be a forbidden move.
No, but I think Kamaev would win though.
No, I'm saying he would
Oh,
force.
just to get out of it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but he almost had that first fight. So,
I think he did say that, yeah, that he felt
yeah,
at the
no,
end he was
I
about to win.
I agree. I 100% agree. And the prelim fighter of the night, I had Rodolfo Bellato going out there and getting a win and also knocking someone out and taking their O away. Being a pretty big underdog is definitely something to look for. And I mean, a fantastic performance at only 30 years old, 13-3-1 now, with two knockout wins. Luke Fernandez going into this was 6-0, a prospect that it seemed like the UFC liked a quite a bit amount, and came in here and stopped that hype train on the first fight of the night. And we need some good light heavyweights, so maybe this could be the next man up.
Oh wow. I actually have personal beef with Rodolfo Bellato because of his terrible acting job that cost Paul Craig one of his last fights in the UFC when he pretended to be knocked unconscious by an illegal strike. But
Hey,
I Hey, that's all you meant. Maybe he's an OTO contender series contender in the future, but it took everything out of me not to pick Long Zhao as my prelim fighter of the night. That man was doing incredible dancing, flamboyantly flapping his arms. I mean, how many times people forget, man? How many times can Rogan bring up these steel cups when Long Zhao kicks Cody Garbrandt? How many people have the accuracy to kick someone in the balls that many times?
yeah, they're actually really good from what I've heard.
They are, and they can actually hurt your foot if you kick them. It can punish the other guy, like Long Zhao. And
Hmm.
similar to your boy DDP against Kamaev, sometimes you're the hammer, sometimes you're the nail. If you're DDP and you're getting laid on top of for 25 minutes, that might actually hurt Kamaev's elbows and fists by punching him that many times. So either way, I did not pick Long Zhao. I picked Alberto Montes, a contender series veteran, or yeah, veteran. And if you watch him on the contender series, he had one of the fights of the season. The other guy just went out swinging. He weathered the storm. He got dropped. And this man has had back-to-back anaconda chokes and now a Darce choke. He is a grappling specialist. He goes for an anaconda just about every fight. It wasn't a very, it wasn't great competition. I'll be completely honest about that. But if you want to see someone try some unique submissions, he's your guy, and that's my prelim fighter of the night. But I will say there were not that many options.
Yeah, no. It seems like for some reason, in the Paramount era, these cards don't have that many fights because so many fall through. So very, very interesting. But next up, we have four fight nights that we will breeze through. Some because they're terrible, and some just to get through them pretty quickly because we have bigger things ahead. But starting off with the fight night going on this weekend, headlined by Josh Emmett and Kevin Vallejos, and then co-main event Amanda Lemos. Oh, that rhymes. And Jillian Robertson. Definitely more people on this card as well. A OTO contender series fight between Steven Asplund and Vitor Petrino. Only if Steven wins. Petrino not eligible to be signed, unfortunately. But unless who knows? Maybe he'll go out there and he'll get a knockout and um, get signed. But right now, Steven is we have the contract written up, so hoping that he can win and stay on the roster. Um, yeah, but not very much at stake on this card overall, especially between Vallejos and Josh Emmett. Um, I like whoever wins this, that's cool, I guess. But I'd still take almost anyone else in the division.
Yeah, not the best card if we're being honest. I mean, Jillian Robertson is straight action. I mean, that's a badass fight right there. People forget, man, she's like one of the best submission artists in women's UFC history of 2025. But there's some guys, I mean, Harry
In
Hardwick
history or of 2025, the
in the
history of
history
2025.
of 2025.
Okay, okay, just making sure.
Yeah, well, I mean, she is a legend in most years. She should get a retirement ceremony when she does choose to. But
Yeah,
I mean, Harry
definitely
Hardwick
one of the best fighters from Canada in
with red hair.
2026. Yeah.
Yeah. Nothing to be messed around with. But I mean, Harry Hardwick makes his return after getting wheeled out of the octagon from a short notice. But he just got bullied, like a playground bully, just kicked him over until he cried. We have Charles Energy Johnson, who, I mean, he beat Kavanaugh, he beat Van. He could be like a sneaky, like a movie villain that comes back for the young guys at the top of the division. And then Kevin Vallejos has been my guy since the Contender Series. He is the next Ilya, and we are beating Joshua Emmett. I mean, that man has a ton of power. I'm a big fan of his, and I hope he wins and fulfills his legacy. But on the prelims, I will say, Vitor Petrino, I do like him a lot. He took our advice when we emailed him to move up to heavyweight. And hey,
Someone
what do we
listened.
say? You're gonna get a fat guy. He's getting Steven Asplund, one of the fattest, but we are a big fan of the Nippy Warrior and Steven Asplund. We're gonna be rooting. I mean, I'm gonna be rooting for both men here, and may the
We're
best
gonna be
man
rooting
win.
for a good fight.
Exactly. We have Elijah Smith, who's a beast on his own. Do not forget about him as well. But unless I'm time to move on to UFC London, unless you have anything
Yeah,
else.
yeah, no, that's fine. One thing I do have to mention, is Oral By versus Chris Curtis. Chris Curtis, how the mighty have fallen. He was never actually that good. But yeah, no, he shouldn't have been in that spot. But one other thing, Harry Hardwick, like you said before, just getting kicked around, like Ike Broflovski. Um, Next up, UFC London in what could honestly, like, I really have high expectations for this fight. Hopefully, a very good fight between Mavzar versus Lerone Murphy. I've had my stamp on Lerone Murphy since we probably started this podcast. This is a guy that I heavily believe in and think will be the champion at the end of the year. Maybe by the next time we record, I could be completely wrong, but we will see. Also, guys on this card, Michael Venom Page, MVP, going up against Sam Patterson.
Let's go. What a
I
badass fight.
Yeah, Christian Leroy Duncan. I know you're a big fan of him. Gets
I am.
his top 11 opportunity against Roman Dolidze here. Austin Lane, I'm actually excited to see him against Ewo here. Pretty solid card overall. Like There's some other guys on here as well towards the bottom that I would be very interested in. Mario Pinto, who's ranked number 15 in the heavyweight division. I think these rankings may be old because Tai Tuivasa is actually ranked 15th. Um, Fights Felipe Franco. So, Louis Sutherland versus Brando Parisi. Um, yeah, this is the first time I've seen multiple heavyweight fights on one card in a while, so maybe a star will be born. Um, and also Keita from Belgium is an absolute dog at 16-1. I mean, this is a guy who is making his UFC debut, I believe,
Yep.
at only 28 years old. Should be an absolute dog from the things that I've seen before. 10 wins by knockout and his 16 wins. So I have high expectations from him, the pride of Belgium.
Yeah, a lot of people are making fun of this card. It is not great at the top, but I love the depth in it. I mean, the Black Panther makes his UFC debut. Obviously, we're clipping that one, but obviously he missed very badly against Pitbull with the canceled fight. But I'm not. Nathaniel Wood is one of the best English prospects. No idea why he was the man chosen to fight the Black Panther, but that will be a very fun fight. We have Shamrock. We have Patty's teammate. We have Luke Riley. Both of his teammates on this card. Shamrock might be one of the worst fighters in the UFC, but we will see if he can redeem himself. But looking on the main card, Danny Silva, Curtis Campbell, underrated fight. Silva had an absolute war against Vallejos. He lost it by decision, but someone to look out for. CLD versus Elize will be very fun. CLD is like MVP late, and we have Iwo fighting Austin Lane, and Iwo obviously another OTO fighter, a guy that I loved in his debut, one of the fights of the year, and I hope he kills Austin Lane and knocks him out brutally. But MVP is a guy that we love, but the UFC hates. I mean, I don't know. This guy, he will fight anyone at a 185, at 170, literally anybody on the roster, and the UFC gives him Sam Patterson. MVP is one of your best fighters. He beats up your best prospects like Char Bullet. He is so fast. He Another AI video, he might have beaten Kevin Holland. I couldn't remember exactly how that one went, but he had a
No,
close one
that
right
was just
there.
that was just sparring, I think. I don't think
That
that
was
counts.
sparring. The cameras were just on at the time, but.
Yeah.
He's such an incredible fighter, and I genuinely think that he is so good at striking, but he chooses to just kind of emote in there and have fun that they don't want him to beat. Like, if you put MVP against one of the best guys in 170 or 185, I'm not gonna let's say it's Bilal Muhammad, let's say it's one of your bigger draws, and he goes out there and he just emotes on them and makes them look bad. Dana doesn't want that. And it's infuriating to me that it's a little bit of both. I love the entertainment from MVP, but to be honest, like if you want to, you can't really complain about Sam Patterson and then do like Pokemon like emotes instead of going for ground and pound. Like someone's got to budge, and if I'm MVP, like you're getting old, man, it's up there. This is your time. When you knock down Sam Patterson, instead of like pointing to the crowd and singing and dancing, go and cave that man's skull in, and they will give you a better fight. I promise that. But Luke Riley, very, very talented scouser. And then Vlad versus Murphy, obviously. You have been bigging up Murphy quite a bit. He's a very good striker. Insane knockout over Aaron Pico. But man, Evlaev, people forget, man. This is a badass fight. He is good. Evlaev is one of the best. He beat Lopez in terms of grappling in the division. And because he might be he has some controversy with him. Uh, Look up Movsar Vlav's 16-year-old because of a 16-year-old he beat up in a fight to find out more about that. But I mean, he beats everyone he goes against, and he dominated Aljo on the ground. He dominated Lopez, Arnold Allen. I just don't know. No one's beat this man. Like I don't know how good he is. So, would you make an official prediction right now in the main event?
I've said it before. I'll say it again. Lerone Murphy will be the champion by the end of the year. That means that he wins this fight. I've said it multiple times. I think Murphy comes out with a win here. The
You
thing
think it's a
about
KO or?
It really depends. I really hope that he can get out of the shackles of Liev.
Whoa.
Based on the wrestling, that's it, nothing. Yeah, the 16-year-old shackles of Liev.
Ooh,
But
that's more like
I mean, one thing that's underrated, yes, it's good to take time off, but this is a guy that hasn't fought in what will be a year and a half at this point, going up against a guy in Murphy that has been on a very good streak. I mean, this is a guy that's been on a tear. Still not fair, in my opinion, that he didn't get the title opportunity. As much as I love Diego
it.
Lopez, but him fighting Pico, which Evlaev was supposed to fight Pico, and the winner of that was supposed to get the title opportunity. That was said, that was promised to Evlaev, but why was it not promised to Lerone Murphy? Noticing things. But Lerone Murphy is going to go out there and win it for us, for all of us. So yeah, he may not officially be signed to Team OTO, but he's on my personal roster. Um, but yeah, another guy on this card, an MVP who's not officially he's on a Legends contract. We didn't want to give his spot to or take
He'll be
a
at Royal Rumble next year, not this
yeah,
year.
yeah. So yeah, so he's on a Legends contract. So make sure you watch out for him in the future. He'll be getting money from us, sponsored by other places as well. And so shout out to him.
Yeah, and one last thing, we will be looking at the OTO credit card to see if it bounces to be attending this fight. At least I will be, but I believe that
Yeah.
it's connected to your bank account. But either way, I will be here. I will be right next to the ring. So come up, hey, take photos. I will be right behind Joe Rogan for just $10,000. But I honestly don't know with this fight. Both of them are decision merchants, if we're being honest. Murphy finally made a massive KO with Pico, but I mean, Pico is kind of walking at him face first with his guard down. So I would say it's a fluke KO if I'm being honest, but Murphy is a athletic freak in the division. I mean, he's on your personal roster and he's so fast with the striking. He's similar to MVP where they're just so fast that they prefer decisions just by piecing people up, but it's such a stylistic matchup and I really don't know how this goes. These guys should be fighting for the belt right now. One of them should have. I argue Evlaev should have had the title shot over Lopez, and then Murphy also should have had it. But I
Well,
think both of them, yeah.
but how does he get the title shot if the guy he was supposed to fight, Murphy fought and beat him though? That's what I don't get. I don't think he should be able to sit out
Yeah.
for a year and a half and then get the title fight.
I mean, I argued before that fight happened. I thought it
Okay,
should have
no,
been
that's fair
Evlaev.
then. That
But then
that's fair then.
afterward, Murphy had a crazy KO over him. So
Yeah.
obviously, it should have been him over Lopez. I think everyone can agree on that.
One
Especially,
thing, yeah, one thing as well. I know I said it when the fight happened. I still don't even know. I haven't watched it back since then, but at the time, I still think Aljo might have beat Evlaev in that fight. So I'm still pretty confident that I think Laurel Murphy is levels above Aljo at this point in his career. But I'm gonna be sticking with Lerone Murphy, the miracle, and he will be bringing a championship back home to England to become the first England fighter to actually win a championship in a long time. Since um, I don't know who is the last real English champion.
oh, like Tom Aspinall.
Okay.
The
On to the
current champ,
next. Huh?
the current champion, Tom Aspinall.
Yeah. Adesanya, which we alluded to before, will be taking on body bag Joe Pfeiffer, Mr. USA from Philadelphia. He is an absolute banger of a lad. And, going up against Izzy here, 14 versus 4. If he wins this, he's in the top five, which is absolutely insane to say. And I think he's going to win this fight. I honestly don't know if he would beat any of these other guys in the top 10, but I mean the way that Izzy's been fighting, I think this is a perfect matchup for him because he's going to look for that knockout. I think Izzy 100% has the advantage if it goes past 3 rounds, but if Joe can find a way to stop him and at least get a good opportunity within 2 rounds, I think it could be over. But other fights on this card as well, it's not too bad. Alexa Grasso versus Macy Barber. Masin Taibura versus Walter Walker. Shout out Team OTO, Walter Walker. I think every single Team OTO heavyweight is going to be fighting between now and the next card, unless I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure they all are. Because we talked
Does
about,
Austin have he has a big fight booked, right? Josh
I,
Hawk.
I, yeah, I believe that's on the next pay-per-view, but I might be wrong. But
Oh, Curtis Blades. Wow.
Curtis Blades, yes,
Yeah.
Curtis Blades. A top four matchup for him as well. But also on here, Terrence McKinney, friend of the channel, friend of Kevin Holland, as well as Chase Gooner is on here. So not a terrible card overall. Yeah, so I think they'll probably add like maybe one more fight. But it'll be interesting to see which fights are on the main card as well. Also, Michael Chiesa is on this, so that's how you know it's a fight night.
Michael Chiesa is on this card. It is a fight night. Yeah, Terrence McKinney, friend of the channel. We have Monster Abdul Malik, a knockout artist you will want to see. It's definitely not an amazing card, but when you have Chase Gooner frame mogging Lance Gibson on the prelims, it's just something you don't want to miss. We have Navajo Sterling, OTO light heavyweight, fighting Bruno Lopez. But when you look at this main event, is Joe Pyfer good? No. Is he gonna win this fight and knock out Izzy? Possibly. I just Izzy's a reaction based counting like striking fighter. And when you lose your reactions as your age continues, you get washed really fast. And we saw that with Strickland and with Imavov where Izzy just stood there and got punched in the face and it was like he had no idea what was happening. And Izzy is so good, and it honestly hurts me to see him struggle with guys like that. He struggled with Imavov, with DDP, with Strickland so bad. It's hard to see him drop 4 of his last 5, but I mean, he's such a dog. Look up Izzy Dog for more about this. But Izzy is a complete dog for taking this fight against against Pfeiffer. I don't really know why he did it, to be honest, but I guess when you lose 3 in a row, you don't have too much say at the top of the rankings. But Joe Pfeiffer has a mean right hand, and that is really about it. A little bit of racism too, so that could help him in this fight by motivating him. But I don't know how this fight goes. I think it's either Izzy completely dominates on the feet and makes Pfeiffer look terrible, or Izzy gets knocked out cold in 1 round. So it's going to be a fun fight at the least.
And one more fight night before we get on to the next pay-per-view. This one hasn't been fully announced, so we can go through this one a little quicker.
It's my boy,
Renato,
it's your boy, though.
I know, Renato Moicano versus Chris Duncan. Will Moicano hand over, will he hand over the keys to the lightweight division, or will Chris Duncan have to take them for himself? We will find out. Also on this card, my number one op, Pat Guillermo with the biggest fluke of 2025 against Pat Fry or Alan Fry Jr. Not that didn't count in my opinion. Alan Fry will be back.
I thought that was
So
AI.
that it was something. I don't know. He's going up against Thomas Peterson. This guy doesn't even look like a real person. I don't know if you have visuals on him.
Oh, I
Um,
did.
yeah, but this guy, so I don't. If I make a prediction, I don't think this Peterson guy makes weight. That's my
Okay.
prediction.
I
That's
think
my
you're the first
prediction.
person to ever make a prediction on Game Pat versus Thomas Peterson.
Yeah, but one fight I'm really excited about is Vierna versus Tabitha Ritchie. That should be an absolute banger fight to watch and to look at. So that'll get me excited for this card.
Yeah, it'll definitely be fun to watch that and look at it as well. But we have at least some good fights on here. I know Tafik Musayev is like a late notice addition to this card, but Robert Rushula, another one of these Polish. We have Ethan Ewing. As you guys remember, he beat up Whitaker pretty badly, making his return to the UFC as a bantamweight. I will be looking at that with great interest, just like the Ricci fight. But Moicano versus Duncan is obviously the headliner. Uh, we could have a friendly little wager on that. Maybe loser gets cut from the USC. We could talk to Dana about setting that up. But that's going to be a really fun fight, I will say. I cannot wait to watch that. But UFC 327. Very, very good card. I think we've had a few bad cards.
Hmm.
Numbered events, if we're being honest here.
Hmm.
327, it looks exciting. We have Josh Hockett. It looks to be on the main card for Josh Hockett, by the way. Don't say that WWE 80s gimmicks don't get you anywhere in the Big 26. Josh Hockett is fighting Curtis Blades. I mean, RDR, buddy. Move up to heavyweight and look what it gets you. Uh, that's going to be a good fight. I know Beneil Dariush is looking for an opponent. If anyone wants a free first round KO,
He has a fight.
who is it? Who's confirmed for Dariush? I thought there was a late pullout.
Did Manuel Torres pull out? Is
I
he?
believe it was a late pullout, yeah.
Oh, well. Hey, who knows then? Maybe we can get him a fight.
I mean, hey, UFC fighters, if you want a free first round KO, there's your fight to take on a numbered event. But this is going to be good. We have Pitbull versus Pico for the inaugural Bellator Championship. The first Bellator fight in a few years now, so that will be fun to bring that back in the UFC. I mean, we have the GOAT, Kevin Holland. I'll be honest, I'm looking at these prelims for the first time, and there's a lot more added than the last time I checked. I knew we had the Bellator Championship, but we have Kevin Holland versus Randy Brown. We have Nate the Train Landwehr. We have Gamrot versus Ribovic. We have Paulo Costa versus Mirzakhanov. Like a ton of amazing fights on this
Dominic
card.
Reyes, Johnny Walker.
Those are also names. But any more you want to name? Just keep going with names here.
Yeah, I mean, I think this card's going to be fantastic. I'm very excited for this. Vicente Luque versus Kevin Gastelum. The unction does have to happen. Like you said, Nate the Train, big fan of him. Tatiana Suarez, um, Mirzakhanov versus Paulo Costa should be an absolute banger. I'm very excited to see what Paulo Costa looks like at light heavyweight. Shout out to our viewers, Vern, if you're watching this. I know you have Paulo Costa as one of the best physiques in the UFC. We'll have to see what he looks like there.
He will be frame hogging Mirzakhanov.
Yeah. We'll have to see what exactly the logistics of that are. Like I said before, Dominic Reyes versus Johnny Walker. And Bellator Championship, Pico versus Pitbull. Loser and maybe even the winner has to retire and leave the UFC
And
if we're
fight
being
Patchy
honest. Oh, that would be good. Now that would be good. Patchy Mix. Hey, let's bring in Patchy Mix here. Hey, Patchy, what's next? Do you want to fight the winner of this? Huh. Kevin Holland versus Rude Boy Randy Brown. Easy win. To start off 2026. This is the year.
Mhm.
Josh Hockett could make his way into the top four with a win. Just absolutely crazy to say. Your boy Esteban Ribovic, who I know you've been raving about this episode about how fantastic he has been. Um, so him against Gamrot, we'll see. It'll definitely be a tough task. But Neil Dariush, people are scared to fight him. Also your boy, so we'll have to see. Maybe we could get a Moicano could come back. But we're walking around eggshells right here. Joshua Van versus Mr. OTO Tatsuru Taira. We are going to have another championship. This could be our first opportunity to bring a belt back home. And if Tatsuru Taira wins, can finally compete the legacy and have a championship fight in Japan. We'll have to find a new Japanese guy because unfortunately his former opponent probably would not work out so well. And then Yuri versus Carlos Ulberg for the light heavyweight title. My quick predictions, like I said before, I think Yuri beats everyone in this division besides Pereira. I think Ulberg is no different. Ulberg is maybe a frame mogger, but he's not built to fight. I don't think he's very good. And I think Yuri will prove that he will go to whatever depths he needs to go to. Like Batman Begins, he will be in the mountains. He will be doing whatever it takes to win this fight, and he will. And then Joshua Van versus Tatsuru Taira. I think Tatsuru Taira may bring home the first championship to Team OTO and become the first Team OTO champion, um, which could be very exciting. That would be big,
That would
massive.
be absolutely massive, some would say. But when you look at 327, let's cut to the chase. The best fight on this card, Kevin Holland versus Randy Brown. We've been saying it for a long time. 2026 is our year. Last year we were joking.
Mhm.
This is the
Yeah, yeah.
year. It's actually his year this year. Unfortunately, we went 2-3 in 2025, but that was the preseason for 2026.
Hmm.
And we are going to be less active, but we're going to win all of our fights. So last year we went for the activity, like get them all under the belt. You learn from the experiences. And this year we're going to be only fighting 2 or 3 times, and we're going to win all of them. We're going to get back in the rankings. So Kevin Holland will be back. Do not forget about that. But people forget, man, Yuri Prohaska, anyone not named Alex Pereira, he has brutally knocked out. I'm just going to read some numbers here. In Yuri's career, 28 knockout wins, 4 knockout losses. 2 of those were to Pereira. 1 decision win. 28 knockout wins to 1 decision win is the most insane ratio of anyone of all time. Over Pereira, over anyone you can think of. Those are insane numbers, and he really is that good. Pereira also just happens to be that good. But Yuri is going to show it here. I think it's going to be a fast knockout. He's going to make Olberg look very bad. I genuinely think if Pereira didn't exist, Yuri would be one of the best UFC fighters with the best resumes of all time. I think he'd be undefeated at light
Fair.
heavyweight. And I think he's gonna prove that. Olberg is decent, but like, yeah, you knocked out Dom Reyes. Like, who hasn't? Most people have. You probably have too. If you don't remember it, you probably just did it in the past life. But Joshua Van versus Tyra as a co-main is absurd. I cannot wait for that fight. I mean, we have both, I know, been huge fans of both of these guys for a very long time, especially Tetsuro Tyra. And when you look at flyweight, it's very sad that Pantoja isn't in the title picture at the current moment with that arm injury. It's a shame, but it does set up an amazing fight. When you look at flyweight, you have Joshua Van, Tetsuro Taira, and Lone Air Kavanaugh even out of nowhere. Are all these young guys? Flyweight is on the come up, so I'm honestly sad one of these guys is gonna lose, but it's gonna be a banger. And hey, I'll say it now: if Taira wins, maybe a little Taira Horiguchi Yuri is on their neck. They're all going to be ready at the same time. You do it in Japan, a little Ryzen type card could be pretty dope. But unfortunately, Pantoja, we'll have to wait to see how this fight goes. But when we look at, we both gave, I think, our Yuri picks. But Van versus Tyra, do you lean one way or the other?
Yeah, I mean, I think I got to go with Tyra here. I think Tyra's a fantastic fighter. And like they say, to be a real champion, you have to go out there and defend your belt and win. I don't know if Van has it. I think Tyra goes into this fight with, obviously with a championship to win, but nothing to lose. And I think he's going to go in here and he's going to have a lot more opportunities, win or lose, obviously at only 26 years old. But I think he's going to go out there, try to get a finish. And I'm taking Tyra by submission here. Maybe third round. But yeah, I mean, he also knocked out Moreno. Like he knocked out Moreno. He's a guy that has power. Lost 5 rounds against Royval, which not a bad loss in the UFC, especially considering that's his only loss being in the UFC. So yeah, this is a guy that has a lot of confidence. I think people are sleeping on him a little too much, but should be an absolute banger. And I am going to go with Tatsuru Taira.
Respect on that. He's so good, you have to say it twice. But I mean, both of it, like when you Brandon Moreno. He's he's not good. I'll just say that. I'll
Hmm.
leave that at that. But Tetsuro Taira is good. But one thing that kind of irks me is I don't think Joshua Van is the smartest fighter. I think the Charles Johnson loss has like something to do with that, but he's the name Fearless for a reason. He loves to brawl. He loves to throw. And when you looked at Van and Royval and then Tyra and Royval, very different fights. Van versus Royval was an absolute bloodbath fight of the year candidate. They were just throwing hands the entire fight. And then Tyra got He got kneed to the face. He got dropped by Royval. It was a tough, very tough fight for him. And I do like Tyra more, but I really don't know. I think it's gonna be the smarter fighter will win this fight. I could see Tyra getting a sub. I could see him getting knocked out, but I think Tyra is gonna unfortunately kill all of Van's momentum. I think he's gonna wrestle a whole lot and win by decision. I think it's gonna be a very close fight. I think Van is a much better striker than Tyra. Tyra's very good on the feet, but I don't think he's going to want to strike with Van this entire fight. And I think Van is genuinely that guy that he will box with Tyra for the entire time. I think he will throw the entire 25 minutes if Tyra lets him. So I think Tyra's going to wrestle out a win, get the belt.
I think that's fair. One more person I do want to talk about that we haven't talked about as much on this card is Kevin Holland, because we always like to roadmap out the year. Last year we road mapped out and didn't go perfect, but this year we have I think we have a pretty good idea of what we're looking at right here. Because right now we are top 20. Yes, we may not be ranked. We're not 15, but once we win this fight, we'll be moving close back to that 15th-ish area, and then that's when it gets exciting because now we can move forward for the rest of the year. I think how we're gonna look at this one is Paulo Costa, you're gone, right? So maybe get up to 15th. When Paulo Costa's gone, RDR's gone, Robert Whitaker, all three of those guys, we win this fight, we're in the top 15, right?
So are we back up to middleweight? Is that the plan for 26?
It's I don't even it seems like it, right? Going up against uh I don't know.
Randy
What
Brown's welterweight.
yeah, that is true.
And I
I
will
guess
say our plan was in 2025 was we were gonna not cut weight, be much more active, take 5 fights. It didn't exactly go 5-0, I'll be honest, but we will cut the weight this time around at welterweight. We're only
okay.
gonna fight 3 times and we're gonna go 3-0 and skyrocket up there.
Oh,
Excuse me, I got really excited.
yeah, no, it's all right. Hey, no problems. No worries, man. So okay. So here we go. This is the plan here at welterweight. We win that fight, right? And we will be in probably close to the top 15, maybe not 15. But some of these guys are going to be gone, right? Um, I guess maybe not too many of these guys. MVP might retire by the end of the year. That could be a good rematch, but the fight I'm looking for, Kobe Covington says he wants to come back and fight the winner of Gilbert Burns versus Mike Malott. Both of our ops, all three of those people, Mike Malott
Yeah.
unfairly beat Kevin Holland. Wasn't fair because he thought he was going to be fighting someone different. He didn't think he was fighting Mike Malott, as we remember.
Yeah.
So
And
we
I
went.
do have to tell you though, Colby's actually booked. He'll be with Dylan Dennis, so we can't fight him yet.
Oh, yeah, I don't think that I don't think that I don't think
Mm.
that affects the UFC though. I think that's just a little
No,
side
it's
thing.
actually I think it's for the BMF belt at the White House.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I think what the idea here is Gilbert Burns, I think easy guy to knock out, right? I think you
Mhm.
can go knock
Is
him out.
Burns is booked, I believe, right?
Yes, yes. He's fighting Mike Malott and Covington wants the winner of that.
Oh wow. Oh wow. So
So
that's we will beat all of them.
I think we beat any of those guys, right? And then that
Mhm.
gets us into the top 10. And then we have to fight someone. And I'm going to say it. I think we beat Leon Edwards. I think we beat Leon Edwards this year. I think Leon Edwards is that wash. I think we beat
I
Leon Edwards this
I
year.
genuinely I could see that happening.
So that's my roadmap. And then we get to the top five. Shavkat, you want to come back? Hey, let's run it back.
Wow. And Shavkat is he removed from the rankings?
Yeah, Shavkat's gone. So
Wow. So we will only fight ranked fighters. Shavkat, you got to fight Colby and Gilbert Burns first, and then maybe make your way up to the big leagues and take on Kevin Holland.
yeah, I mean, someone's got to welcome him back. So if you want to come back, then we'll be here. And then Kevin Holland, Ilya is just going to be too small for us, man. Like Ilya is too
Yeah.
short to get to beat a guy like Kevin Holland, if we're being honest. So
Yeah.
I expect Kevin Holland. I expect us to be in the top 10 this year. 2027 is going to be the championship run. 2025, we fell all the way down, but 2026 we rebuild ourselves and beat. I don't care who it is, Gilbert Burns. Colby Covington, any of those guys. I'd take Gabriel Bonfim, who's 10th right now. I don't care. Kamara Usman, one knee kick, oblique kick, you're done for, pal. You're gone. Um, Maybe
Yeah,
even
and I
CP.
will say,
I
I
think
mean,
Kevin Holland would do some good things to CP. What were you gonna say? Oh, I think you're
so
frozen.
I think I froze for a little bit, but people forget, man, when you look at CP and Leon Edwards, when you look at Leon Edwards, we easily will beat him. He is very
Think
washed.
so.
But Kevin the Trailblazer Holland, they're only 10th in the West right now. I've even had a great season, so I
Yeah.
think we're gonna we're gonna have a big 2026.
Yeah, no, Kevin Holland is making it out of 2026.
Mhm.
So finally, the Freedom 250-year anniversary, something or other, the White House card. We're gonna go over it a little bit. And a lot of people had high expectations, but I don't think it's a bad card. Maybe not as exciting as it would have been. I know you were very upset right when it happened. That could have been due to other factors, but I know you were very upset right when they announced it. But now that you've had some time to calm down and a different state of mind, more thought-provoking now, how do you feel about this card?
I personally was not upset. I was actually more disappointed, to be
Mm,
honest. And I'll say it right now. I will bet, I will bet your life that Conor McGregor fights before the summer's over. And I think the Mac is back. And I think he was begging and genuinely ready for the White House. But I don't think Dana, when you look at how very bad our numbered events have been, get one moment, please. I don't think Dana is putting McGregor on the White House card because why put him there? That turns your card of the year into still the card of the year. He's gonna put McGregor. International Fight Week. It's not gonna be a great card, but it's McGregor. It will sell. He wants two good cards instead of one. And I think we will be seeing Conor McGregor before the summer's over.
Conor McGregor, you need someone to fight. You want to fight at 170? The Trailblazers here.
Wow. I was
Who
actually
would you
thinking
root for?
Michael Chandler.
Yeah.
Um,
Who do you root for? Kevin Holland versus Conor McGregor.
well, we would never lose that fight.
Okay, that's
That's
fair.
I'll leave it at that.
Okay,
And by
that's fair.
we, I mean Conor the notorious McGregor. Conor, he's not losing to Kevin Holland. That would be ridiculous. That is just not happening in a million years.
Yeah,
But
but we don't want to fight Conor because he's unranked. So that's fair.
um,
It's good for
okay, you
both
know what?
sides.
That it would never happen because
Yeah,
Kevin
yeah.
Holland would never fight an unranked fighter. But when you look at this White House card, I'm 99% sure that Islam or actually manager Ali on the phone completely ducked Ilya. I think Ilya is telling the truth that he said, "Hey, give me Gaethje, give me Islam. I don't care. I'm taking that fight." And I think Islam ducked. He said he's injured. I mean, it's not a coincidence in my eyes. He moved up a whole division once Ilya started kicking at lightweight. But Ilya Gaethje, you have your like optics wise, Gaethje's an American that's gonna get brutally knocked out cold. Michael Chandler's an American that's gonna get brutally knocked out cold. I'm not sure. Maybe that's like some sort of metaphor for the American political state at the moment. I'm not gonna get into that, but when you look at this card, Topuria versus Gaethje, Ilya is he's the man. I think he's the best star. He's the real answer. Sean O'Malley, sorry, I think Ilya is the real star on this card. Paddy Pimblett also was disappointing, the star status in the UFC. Ilya's the man. They got to push him, give him the biggest fights. And Justin Gaethje is the sacrificial lamb to boost Ilya. I think Ilya's the biggest star since McGregor. I genuinely think that. And I think he's the most talented guy in the UFC. But when you look at Ilya versus Gaethje and Alex versus Gane, those are not bad at all, but I was honestly expecting Harrison Nunez. I think that would have been a banger. You have another one of your only American champs who I would have taken to win that fight personally, but I'm not too upset about two title fights, but Uh, this has been hyped for a while, and we've been taking some pretty bad pay-per-views or numbered events for a decent card. I mean, we have Steve Garcia and Kyle Daukaus and Bo. How does Bo Nickel get on UFC 300 main card and the Freedom 250 main card? Just whatever.
Hey, because he's the GOAT. I think one guy that, yes, I do think Ilya is one of the biggest stars in the UFC, but like Dana said, I think Alex Pereira may still be the biggest star currently in the UFC right now. This is a guy that is going for his third championship. He will be a 2.5 time champion and I mean, he wins the interim belt. Who knows? He may be the real champion by the end of the year. We don't know what's going to happen now. And especially with the man that Tom Aspinall just signed to. Who knows if he's ever even going to fight again in the UFC? If you guys weren't aware of that news, Dana White's number one op, who he may be fighting in a boxing match, officially signed Tom Aspinall and is now his manager in Eddie Hearn. Other guys on this card, Diego Lopez, very excited to see him. Many people wondering how Steve Garcia got on this card. But I got news today that he was actually friends with Charlie Kirk, and there's a picture of them together. So that's how he got on this card. Bo Nickel, he's just the GOAT. Yeah, Mauricio is going to destroy Michael Chandler. Like, I don't even, I think he's going to try to, I don't even know what he's going to do. Like, maybe a double spinning back kick or something. Like, he's going to go one way, kick him with a foot, and then turn around and spin him the other way. It's going to be like a Looney Tunes knockout. Sean O'Malley versus Zahabi is like I think we gave him three different fights. You could either fight Umar, Corey, or Peter Yan, and he's fighting Zahabi. Doesn't really make too much sense here. Should easily win that though. And then Pereira. Ilya is knocking out Gaethje. I don't have anything on that. And I feel bad for Gaethje because Ilya said that since Islam ducked him, he has to take his anger out on someone else. Like, I'm genuinely scared for Justin Gaethje, man. But Pereira versus Gane. One thing that I do want to bring up, many people wondering how Gane is getting the heavyweight title fight, but like, let me ask you, right? Out of all the UFC fighters right now that are in the heavyweight division, who deserves a championship fight? Who do you want to see in a heavyweight championship fight?
Hey, aliens, laser beam pointed at Earth. I'm taking Alan Fry Jr.
Hey,
That's the
well, okay.
heavyweight.
That's what I would say, but you know, the people don't know about that because he got buried last year in what is one of the worst decisions I've ever seen. Even though he got outstruck every single round by probably 30 strikes.
Yeah, the judges they're crazy nowadays, but I mean, here's what I'll say. I truly think Aspinall's obviously not leaving the UFC. He's not going to do a boxing match right now with Hearn, but that's not looking good. I cannot imagine the phone call between Eddie Hearn and Hunter Campbell. There's not a chance in the world Dana is the one doing any of the actual bookings, but I don't know how that possibly goes. I'm not gonna lie, Eddie Hearn kind of got this back in blood after the Conor Benn thing. I would rather have
Hmm.
Tom Aspinall than Conor Benn, and Dana giving Conor Benn 15 mil for one fight. And then you have Izzy and all these UFC fighters getting mad about that. I think Eddie Hearn's kind of playing 4D chess right now, maybe causing some mutinies in the UFC, but the Aspinall eye thing is obviously disaster. I mean, Cyril Gahn will be poking Alex Pereira in the eye. Put it on Kalshi. I guarantee it's on there. Uh, Pereira's gonna walk that man down, and he is gonna get poked in both eyes instantly at the White House. But when you look at the UFC heavyweight belt, I mean, John Jones is at the Brook saying that he's in talks. Like, sorry, buddy, it's over. Street beefs, maybe we'll have you fight Patchy Mix or something, but I just don't. John Jones is done. I don't want to hear his name anymore for any equation. But Aspinall, I just like. I don't know when he'll be back, and I don't even think he does, like genuinely. So I think the timeline at the moment is, and when you look at heavyweights, I mean, there's a new ranked heavyweight, a new up and coming guy, Tai Tuivasa, brand new to the rankings, could be fighting for the belt, but in all seriousness, there's nobody in the heavyweight division that earns a title shot right now. Not a single one. It's gone. and Aspinall, and Aspinall can't fight. So it has to be Gone Pereira, but outside of that, I don't know what they even do. So I don't know. That's all
I
I can
I
see
think
them.
you need Josh Hockett to win and put him at 4.
That might be
And
the
then what
only answer.
happens? And then Gon loses this fight and then Gon fights against Hockett and destroys him in like 30 seconds. Like there's no elite prospects in this division. I thought Rico was signed to the UFC to fight in the heavyweight division or at least the light heavyweight division, and now he's boxing against Usyk. I don't know what's going on. I don't know.
Yeah, chaos.
But
It's chaos all around.
the one thing I will say, I will give Tom Aspinall credit for the first time in a while. He said that John Jones, if he was being in negotiations for this, give him $30 million. You were going to give him $30 million last year to fight against Aspinall. You had the money, you were going to give it to him, but you don't give him $30 million now to fight on the White House card against Pereira. That doesn't really make very much sense to me. Like if you're going to give him the money before, why not give him the money now? That doesn't make any sense to me. Um, and I think I don't know. There's a lot going on. Free John Jones, man. He doesn't deserve this. He's the GOAT. And I don't know. Like they should have given him the money. Yes, he may not physically be there. But against Pereira, I think it would have been fantastic to actually see that fight. But I don't understand the money wise. You just gave Conor Benn $15 million for one fight. You're not going to give John Jones $30 million to fight on the White House card. Um, I don't know, but we'll see. We do have a long time until then. Who knows what'll happen? Maybe Gon will pull out and Josh Hockett will fight Pereira for the belt. But if Tom Aspinall, do you think that there's a chance between now and then that this will be for the actual heavyweight championship? What would you put a percentage at between March and June that this is for the actual heavyweight championship?
I mean, I'd throw it at a solid just I'd say it's a 1 in 2 chance. It's a 50% chance that Aspinall's gonna vacate.
So yeah, so it either is or it isn't. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think I think if Aspinall does give up the belt, then we will be seeing that. But if he doesn't, then we will not be seeing that. So
Well,
one or
at
the
that
other.
point though, the last time that he fought was, I mean, obviously he fought in Gone in October, but the last championship defense or whenever he won the belt, whatever, was against Blades 2 years before this,
Whose
almost
fault was that?
not his fault, but I'm saying if he's not going to fight, then take the belt away from him, and then when he comes back, he can fight for the belt.
Yeah, I mean, this is all John Jones' fault, by the way, that Aspinall has not been an active champion. It's honestly a shame how
He could
two
have fought
men.
Tai Tuivasa. He doesn't have to fight John Jones. He
No,
can go
yeah.
after someone else. He doesn't have
We're
to fight
not
him.
we're not fighting that 15th ranked bum. And we would never fight that unranked bum in John Jones. He would have to fight John Jones would have to fight Tuivasa, a legit ranked fighter, and then maybe after a few wins he can move up. But I'm just Aspinall, Cyril Gane, and John Jones have ruined this man's prime. He could have been on unpreceded levels of the heavyweight GOAT rankings. And it honestly is a shame, but in my actual answer is that I think Aspinall should and will vacate. It will be Pereira versus Gane. Pereira's going for the actual triple champ status at heavyweight, which would be insane. I do think he is going to win that fight, to be completely honest. And then at that point, I think there's a chance that Aspinall might never fight again in the UFC. And I don't even think that's only slightly related to Eddie Hearn. Like, I think he's been talking about boxing for so long, and when you have these eye issues that you can't even fight, I just I can't see Aspinall. Like, is he gonna be out another year and then he takes on Pereira and Pereira's possible retirement fight? I don't know what he's gonna do.
Yeah, I think he's fine. I think he should go in the Octagon and defend his belt if he's the champion, and if not, he shouldn't be fighting. But hey, who knows? I mean, Aspinall versus Pereira would be an absolute banger. So hopefully we can get that and not Gone versus Aspinall because I don't want to see that again. We already know what was going to happen the first time. We don't need to see it
I hope.
again. But hey, Cyril Gane has gone on a fantastic run after beating Volkov. Um, the last time that they fought and is now getting a second championship opportunity against
Mhm.
Alex Pereira. So shout out to the heavyweight division, just looking absolutely fantastic. But the real champion in our hearts, Waldo Cortez Acosta, is the man. And a few notes before we're done. Just going over Team OTO, we did have some winners throughout the past few fight nights. Kavanaugh, just amazing performance overall. I mean, this is a guy that is just, he's at sixth now in the flyweight division. He's a guy that could be fighting for the belt by the end of the year. Like, he's an absolute banger of a lad. Very excited to see him towards the top of that division. And who knows? I mean, I was talking earlier, joking, obviously, about Lerone Murphy being the next English champion. Kavanaugh could definitely get up there very soon. He's a guy. Here's a guy that's really good. So at only 26 years old, he's fantastic. Kevin Holland's cousin, Alden Correa, got a win as well. So shout out to him. Like we talked about before, Sean O'Malley is going to be on the next, well, not the next, but the White House card. So that'll be some pretty good representation for us as well for Team OTO. Unfortunately, Vinicius Oliveira did get tapped out by Mario Bautista. A little bit expected. If he loses his next fight, you're done. He's cut. If he loses the next one, he's cut. So he's on the edge right now. Diego Lopez, another guy who is going to be on the White House card as well. And I don't know if there's anyone else that I'm missing here that won. Oh, Jacoby Smith was supposed to have a contender series fight. Unfortunately, his opponent pulled out. But he did have another fight, got one in the first round, so he is officially signed with Ian Gary and Michael Morales. And I think out of every OTO division, Gary, Jacoby Smith, and Morales, I think that's our best division right now. And so yeah, shout out to them.
Yeah, I completely agree. They look great. We have and then we have a ton of guys. We have Ewo coming up. We have Navajo Sterling, Stephen Asplund, obviously Josh Hockett, but there's some good fights coming up, and I'm kind of surprised that the clock's been ticking, and they've been announcing some fight nights, but I think the White House has kind of distracted us that 328, is there anything going on there? Is anyone booked? Like a single person or like who? I don't even know who could possibly fight on that. Is Islam going to be injured until the fall? I don't know.
Mackenzie Dern.
She could be a headliner. Yeah, that's definitely a possibility. We could see. I mean, hey, Mackenzie. If everyone else is booked at the White House, we could see a Mackenzie Dern headliner.
Yeah, I mean, Dana said that he has the next cards lined up, so we better be seeing those soon. Because he says he has the next four events lined up. Realistically, with a numbered event, I believe what the one being in June, so we have May and April because we already have the March one announced. And then in April, Prohaska versus Olberg at 327. So we're just waiting on 328 in Newark. So I mean, like you said, I don't really know who's going to be fighting on that card. Especially because you would assume in July for International Fight Week, you would hold out and have Islam fight then, especially if he's not fighting on the White House card. So maybe I feel like it has to be Kamzat, or there's no one for Volk to fight. So maybe
No.
it's Peter. I do think it could be Peter since Sean isn't fighting him and Sean's fighting Zahabi. It could be Peter. That would be my prediction right now.
Yeah, and one last thing that you said earlier, like Sean O'Malley, like th that he is our boy, but like we tried to speak with management and Hunter Campbell, and I mean, I'm pretty disappointed. Like they put him on the White House card. He is one of your biggest stars. When Sean O'Malley was firing, when he was champ, everybody loved him. And it's a bit weird that like we talked about that, and I don't know if he ducked Sandhagen or what exactly happened there, but I don't love that we are fighting Zahabi at the White House, and it kind of seems like a Gaethje Patty type thing where you give the guy you want to promote like a can, and he's gonna look really good at the White House. He's gonna get the win, and then maybe they give him Piotr, but. I don't. I think Sandhagen was the perfect opportunity. He's ready for it. I don't know why you wouldn't do that because I have all faith in Sean O'Malley to beat Sandhagen.
Yeah, I think Peter probably going to defend the belt in May. Like I said, at the Prudential Center. So who does he fight? If he fights Umar or he fights Sandhagen, then why is O'Malley fighting Zahabi? Because you would assume they already have all these cards set up, right? So they already know who Jan would be fighting if he's fighting in May, which I think would what make the most sense. Who else are you going to have to go strut out there and be your champion? He fought in December. That's 6 months. I think he's fine to fight then. So if he's fighting against Umar or Sandhagen or even Marab, then you're going to have other guys sitting out. I think maybe the only way, maybe, I guess, looking at this, maybe he fights Marab in a rematch and you have Umar versus Sandhagen, and that's why Sean's fighting Zahabi. I think all four of those guys, if I had to make a prediction now, probably fighting on that card in um, May. I think Umar, or does Umar, I don't know. I don't know what the Ramadan schedule is. Does he fight in May or is he,
I
I don't
think
know.
he's cleared to go in May.
Okay. So yeah, so we'll have him fight in May. And then I think you have Jan versus maybe Marab for a rematch. And
It's gotta
then
be.
because you can't have Umar and Sandhagen fight again. I mean, they just fought last year, but then Sandhagen's last fight was against Marab also. So I don't know. I think all four of those guys will be on that same card. So we'll have to see what happens in May, but I don't know. Dana's got to start announcing some fights.
Yeah, at least in my eyes, there's so many great fighters right now, but not that many great fights. So it feels like a lull, to be honest. I'm a little disappointed at the start of the Paramount era, but maybe that White House card, to be honest, that could be electric. I think Gaethje is going to be sacrificed based off Ilya's tweets, the whole stuff, his personal life, the Islam stuff. But Ilya has been aura farming like crazy on Twitter, and Islam has. He's been getting mocked. I can't even lie. Like he's been getting embarrassed very bad. So I'm excited for the White House card. We'll see how that goes. But we will see you guys next time at 327. And we will be celebrating Kevin Holland's first win of three in 2026.
Yes.